The point is about the neutron. The neutron is a very interesting particle, in my opinion. It is worth listing its known properties and interactions, as it amazes. So what do we know about the neutron? First, it is the heaviest particle, slightly heavier than the indivisible proton. Second, the neutron has no charge, but can quickly decay into a positively charged proton and a negatively charged electron. That is, it contains an electron in its structure somehow and, by releasing it, can turn into a hydrogen atom, and possibly back. Third, it is omnipresent and necessary for the formation of matter. It is necessarily part of the molecule of any substance except light hydrogen, although it is part of the heavy hydrogens deuterium and tritium. But, starting with helium, the number of neutrons is always greater than or equal to the number of positively charged protons. That is, with a high probability, it can be assumed that the neutron is a link between protons, the number of which in the nucleus is determined by the substance itself, presented in the periodic table. The nucleus contains protons and neutrons, but neutrons wield protons in the nucleus due to their structural features and probably due to the electron in their composition, because only this distinguishes them from protons. The electron most likely becomes common in the nucleus, constantly mutually converting the proton and neutron between themselves. The electron forms something like a dipole in the nucleus, shifting its cloud between the protons. Maybe this is the very same strong interaction. Fourth, the neutron is present in cosmic rays, but is distributed in space in an unknown amount, since, having no charge, it weakly interacts with other particles and substances. Therefore a fast-flying neutron has a high penetrating ability and it is difficult for us to detect it. In addition, the neutron may not have a speed, the so-called slow or ultra-cold neutron. It is even more difficult to detect, it will not have ionizing ability, and substances will become an obstacle for it, and these slow neutrons can be collected, stored and transported in a coffee can. Based on logic, space contains many neutrons, and if there are enough of them in space, then the neutron mass of space is an excellent candidate for dark matter, and a close connection with the formation of hydrogen can determine the spectral redshift of distant stellar objects due to the absorption of shorter wavelength light by hydrogen. Neutrons in space also give hope for their use as a source for nuclear fusion in spacecraft engines in the future. For the latter, the convergence of uncharged slow neutrons and their interaction with a nuclear magnetic resonator seems promising. Fifth, neutron and proton are heavy particles, but they are probably built by electromagnetic vortices closed on themselves and called quarks. Neutron can release or give birth to an electron, which also has mass, reducing its mass to the mass of a proton. Further, proton, electron, and neutron as a combination of the first and second, have an electric charge and mass. We are accustomed to the idea that only something with mass can have an electric charge. Or maybe the opposite, since we know that all material particles are one or another wave disturbance. Then, maybe, charge determines mass. For example, due to spatial interaction with the same microparticles. Negative charge has the mass of an electron and a strictly defined structure of an electron. And positive charge has the mass of a proton and the structure of a proton, while the positive charge is much heavier than the negative. Neutron sums up masses, it is a combination of a proton and an electron. That is stable because only a strictly defined closed on itself wave electromagnetic field generates a charge, which, interacting with surrounding charges, acquires the properties of inertia and mass. And this can be taken as a postulate. And then here is a new theory of everything, for you. But that is another topic. I have not studied quantum physics in depth, so maybe I am talking nonsense on this topic, or maybe I am repeating generally accepted one. I am interested in the mind game on this topic, since many theories of varying degrees of proof are acceptable and exist in this topic, but not one of the theories has been confirmed perfectly. I understand this as an exciting brainstorm.